Welcome to episode 5 of the Flagrant 2 podcast. I am your host, as always, Kyle Flieger. Joining me today for a special live broadcast from Boulders on Southern, it's a bar, is Adam Jarvie. Adam not only works here at Boulders on Southern, but he is also an entertainment expert, is what I'm calling him.
Yes, the joke of all trades.
Sun season ticket holder.
Maybe if they'll let me get a whole season for $150 again.
With the roster, that seems reasonable. Adam, can you tell people where the Suns are located in Phoenix? Could you tell people where Boulders on Southern is located?
For Suns, they're in Phoenix. There's a few more in the sky. Check them out anytime you want. Boulders on Southern is on the northeast corner of Southern and Alma School in Mesa, Arizona. The
northeast corner of Southern and Alma School. It's a great place. They got a zillion TVs in here, and they are craft beer focused. That's one of the things that I personally am a big fan of. Boulders is going to be sponsoring the podcast from now on. We're going to try to do a podcast once a week from here live. There will be specials right now for the next 90 days. If you listen to the podcast and you come to Boulders and you tell them either the word Flieger, which is my last name, or Flagrant 2 podcast, I'm sure Flagrant 2 will work. I don't know. Adam will probably be working.
You're probably going to want to use Flagrant 2 because to some people here, Flieger is not a strong name to spread around.
That's a terrible lie. He's a terrible liar. Probably true. So I would go with Flagrant 2. You'll get a $1 pint as your first pint. And if you come during one of the podcasts, we have some other specials. We'll be giving away swag in the future weeks. So join us. Come out to Boulders on Southern for one of these. For those of you listening, we're going to jump right into the NBA schedule. The schedule was released last week. There have been a couple of key games I wanted to go over. Last week? Week before last? Who cares? The NBA schedule came out recently. There are some key games, and Adam went through the whole schedule for us and is going to go over some of the games we can look forward to. And then the second part of the podcast, we're going to have AJ Moorhead on, and we're going to do NBA over-unders for win totals for every team. So this will be a good one. Gamblers enjoy. Even though our statistics may not meet your criteria, fuck you, use them anyway. So, Adam, why don't you go over what you think the highlight game of the season is going to be?
Well, first off, everybody was very, very excited, I think, to see the Cavs-Warriors first reunite to dance on Christmas.
It's a gift for me. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. I can't wait to wake up 15 minutes before it starts, crack a beer, and open my present when the game starts. I think one of the interesting things about the game is not only that it's on Christmas, which is like the obvious reason to be excited about it. The other obvious reason to be excited about it was the finals and the outcome. But you've also got the addition of Durant. Now,
I think every game with the Warriors is going to be exciting because everyone wants to see what Kevin Durant can do.
Absurdly explosive. Want to see how he's going to gel into their system at all, or if he just completely takes over. Is Steph Curry going to be nearly as much of a fantasy threat as he has been with the introduction of Kevin Durant?
Almost definitely not.
So the game on Christmas is in Cleveland. Now, there's kind of two ways you can go with this. Now, if Cleveland wins this game, I think it's almost just like, yes, we won the home game. They got KD, but the champs are still the champs. All is right in the universe. The best team won, and they're still the best team. If they lose, then, oh, shucks, they got KD. The Cavaliers obviously have some adjustments to make. What I think is more interesting than the Christmas game, and I'm going to definitely tune into, is when they meet again on January 16th, a little bit later in the season, in San Francisco.
Okay, so Cleveland, we expect the Cavs to win on the home floor. I can see what your point is. It's the first time we'll get to see this matchup, but it might not be the most relevant time we get to see the matchup.
If
all right.
Cleveland loses, inevitably we'll blame it on Durant's presence anyway.
Yeah, so January 16th, they're playing again. San Fran, 16th. Oakland. Fuck San Francisco. Oakland is where they play.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Bay.
Not the, like, F word all of San Francisco, but I feel bad saying that that's where the Warriors play because that's...
The people who can afford to attend the game are coming from San Francisco.
That's probably
anyway.
true.
However, for this game, I think it's a little bit more interesting because if the Cavs lose this game, champs or not, there's kind of no alarm that will go off here. You lost in the Bay with the addition of Kevin Durant. There's just nothing special about that loss.
It's an expected result.
Correct. Of both games, all four potential outcomes, the win of Cleveland would be catastrophic. I think Yahtzee, bingo, jackpot, slam dunk, you got Kevin Durant, and we just frankly don't care. We're going to go to your house and not wipe our feet on our way in the door.
And I think January is when people start really paying attention to the NBA season also. It's after those Christmas games. Once you're almost halfway through the year, that game will be. And so we'll have a sense of how good the Warriors are at that point. I agree with you. I think if the Cavs beat the Warriors in Golden State, and I think this is what Kevin Durant's going to have to worry about all year long, is the massive expectations. They won 73 games. They were 1 minute of bad shooting away from being the NBA champions, again, back-to-back. It's going to be really hard for them to even do as well. If they don't win the championship, we'll all call them underachievers. If Kevin Durant's not scoring 30 points a game, we'll wonder whether he's fitting in or whether he's sacrificing something. And honestly, even if they win 70 games, are you going to be impressed? No, it's kind of the expected result. So if they lose, every time they lose, it's going to be a red flag going off. I can see the sports writers now. The Thunder, should be happy that KD made this big mistake.
While he has value, do we go back to what we were doing before? Just all these ridiculous questions that pundits are going to pull forward the first sign of trouble.
If they look to trade Durant, the Suns should be all over that. Just so you know, I'm going to keep the Suns spin fresh all night.
I'll go read all of your other articles about us possibly being able
I'll have a couple of trade proposals ready for you if the pundits start wanting to trade Kevin Durant. So what else? What do you like about that game? I mean, is it all just LeBron versus KD? Is LeBron going to guard KD? Does he have it? Is that the matchup we should really look forward to, LeBron versus KD one-on-one?
I think that's absolutely the matchup, and he almost has an obligation to heed that matchup.
He has to guard him.
He has to.
If he doesn't guard KD, he's being a little bitch.
And to be honest, I don't want to see him stretched out of the post so far that he's guarding Seth while KD's just driving on some other poor bastard who is given the job of guarding him.
Well, and I think
you need the massive body that can still move around fast enough to keep him at bay.
I was listening to Nate Duncan and Damian LaRue on the Dunked On podcast talk about how they think that the offense for the Golden State Warriors might look in the future, and I think you're going to see post-ups from Kevin Durant.
Absolutely.
And that's going to be really interesting to see if he sort of makes that transition to how LeBron in Miami went from being mostly a perimeter player, but then there was that year where I think he shot 58% from the field and was a dominant post player, the most efficient player in the league. I think, and the Olympics showed us a glimpse of this, I think Kevin Durant could legitimately average 25 points a game on 12 shots.
For sure.
I don't think that's insane.
I think Golden State also, in the offseason, dropped a lot of size, picked up a lot of size, but the size they picked up is kind of idiot size.
So I think maybe what you mean is weaker. I mean, they got rid of Bogut, who's a defensive-minded center, bigger than Zaza Pachulia, who they picked up in his place.
Correct.
And they now have David West as an addition as well, which David West really underperformed for the Spurs, I thought, last year.
And that's why I'm not really banking on him bringing his bloodthirsty attitude to Golden State and thriving more. What I'm noticing more is the loss of Festus Ezeli.
Yeah.
Which, although he didn't play huge minutes or was huge production, it was that stretched body, that size that's mobile. And I think that they're going to fill that void with Kevin Durant, but he'll have the bonus of scoring 30 points a game.
I would not be shocked if we saw a lot of Kevin Durant at the 4. Just a ton of it. It wouldn't surprise me at all. The lineup of depth, now they just have a bunch of variations of it, because when you replace Harrison Barnes with Kevin Durant, you've improved the shooting from the perimeter dramatically, and you've created spots on the floor where now, just imagine Kevin Durant in the low post, surrounded by Andre Iguodala, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green.
It's outrageous.
It's ridiculous. And they put themselves in a position where I want to see if LeBron can figure out a way to guard it. Because Tyronn Lue, whatever. We all know LeBron's the coach and GM of the Cavaliers. They're going to make adjustments, I think. And I think if they lose that game, I don't think the trade deadline's too far after that January 16th game. That could be one of those games that shows which team needs to make an adjustment before the playoff run. So I do agree that's a big time game for both teams.
Christmas. I mean to summarize, Christmas will be fun because it's Christmas and we get to watch the finals rematch.
Basketball on Christmas is one of my favorite things, so that's an easy sell.
Yeah, but
sell me on a different game.
I'll sell you on the Suns Spurs, although I don't think I have to sell you on the Suns Spurs.
I'll be there covering it. You're going to have to convince me not to be screaming for the Suns as a homer from press row the entire time.
I don't think anybody sitting at this table with us is going to tell you to stop screaming at a Suns versus Spurs game.
So why should I care about Suns versus Spurs in this year? Because it sounds like the Suns are going to get beat by 40.
They are. They absolutely are. I was going to humor you for a moment on your own podcast to tell you that they had a chance here, but you beat me to it, so they don't. There's just no absolute way they're going to win this game. Part of the appeal to me is, A, showing Aldridge a future that you don't have to buy. We were all absolutely bummed when LaMarcus Aldridge...
We would have paid for the future, though. We would have bought him.
Oh, for sure. We
We would have been
handed the checkbook.
We'll pay for him right now. If he wants to come here,
it's still not ruled out.
I don't think that's legal, but we'll do it.
The weird thing to me about the Spurs is the bringing in of David Lee and Pau Gasol. I think is just...
David Lee's terrible.
Bastardly.
He's been bad for 4 years.
Fair enough.
He's been terrible.
But I think he's going to be better at the role that David West thought he was going to have with the team.
I think he'll be similarly bad and not impactful.
Fair.
But I wonder this. Without Tim Duncan, what's that team even going to look like?
Which I just wanted to see the smile on your face when it was brought up in front of me.
Yeah.
Tim Duncan's gone.
I know. I'm so happy Tim Duncan's gone. Like, oh, if Manu Ginobili could die in a dumpster fire. Like, other than that, I'm sad. Like, I'm almost a Spurs fan without those guys in here. I don't mean that. But I do, honestly, I wonder if the Spurs are going to be able to yeah, they re-signed Ginobili. Tony Parker's old, Ginobili's old. It'll be fun to see them without Tim Duncan, though. I do agree. It's going to be weird to see them without Tim Duncan. They're obviously going to be worse on defense. Popovich has been really good at knowing when to transition his teams from super defensive minded, and last year they were a historically good defensive team for most of the year, into a really efficient offensive team. We saw some of those teams against the Heat where they sort of helped create the transition from the 7 seconds or less Suns into the Warriors that we see today. They were that team that really first, I think, gave up a good shot to get a great one. And I think we're going to see the Spurs make one of those massive shifts back from a defensive-oriented team to a team that is far more interested in their offensive side of the ball and just tries to run with teams, despite the age at point guard and small forward. Because that's how you get Kawhi and LaMarcus into position, lower in the block, or take advantage of some of the mismatches, Danny Green's skill set. So I think that I'm always excited to watch Sun Spurs, and just if Tim Duncan's in the audience, I'm going to be livid. Because I'm not convinced he's not going to somehow come on the floor and ruin my night.
Just wearing Aldridge's jersey.
He's spoiled 15 consecutive years of my Suns fandom. Like, why would I doubt for a second that he's not going to keep it up?
Part of the reason why I'm looking forward to this game is it's the first game against the Spurs that we get to see where he's just not involved whatsoever.
Yeah, so that's our first game. The Suns' first game against the Spurs.
That's going to be on December 15th. That's a home game.
That's my birthday gift, basically, is the Suns losing by less than 40 to the Spurs.
That'll be beautiful.
That'll be great.
It's kind of the long shot odds as well. And if you're a Suns fan, obviously you want to go to that game. And of all games against the Spurs, when they're this dominant over us, just as far as basic win record and opportunity to win these many games, that a win here would be one of the greatest feelings that you could ever ask for in your entire life, I think, as a Suns fan.
I think the greatest joy, even maybe better than having a Sun, is the Suns beating the Spurs. Like, I don't care if the Suns win 19 games. If one of those 19 games is against San Antonio, it's going to be the best day of my year. For sure.
And to kind of summarize this category of games that we're looking forward to, these are all like really core rivalries, either current ones, current event ones, or fun ones. To switch it over to a classic one real quick here, everybody loves a good Celtics-Lakers game. However, nobody's really liked the Celtics or the Lakers in a while. However, one of the reasons why I do look forward to this game, on February 3rd to be specific, after they've both taken a little bit of time to wear into their positions on their respective teams, I'm looking forward to seeing two of my favorite draft picks go head-to-head. Ingram and Jaylen Brown.
Yes, picks 2 and 3 this last year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I, during the draft, was sort of a coin toss of who I thought was going to go first. I know the media was going to basically jam down our throats that Ingram was going to be in the 1-2 toss-up with Simmons, and historically, it just went down how it probably should have. If I were, let's play this game. If you were a GM, which of the two would you have drafted? Say you had the second round pick and you needed a small forward. Where do you go?
I would have picked Ingram because of his shooting. I think that Jaylen Brown's defense is the most impressive part of his game. He really did a great job locking up Marquise Chris, who's drafted 8th by the Suns during Summer League. But I would take Ingram purely because I think he's younger than Brown, and he also has a little bit more natural length than Brown. So I think whereas he's not a great defender like Jalen is, he's a much, much better shooter. Now, his shooting's mostly spot up, so he needs to work on his off-the-dribble skills. Jalen Brown's much better at getting to the basket, but if I had to pick, I would take Ingram. But I do agree that's going to be very interesting to see if...
It'll be great.
Yeah.
I'd like to throw an asterisk on that game. It's a classic rivalry. However, it won't be nearly as interesting if they both haven't assumed the starting spot. I do think Ingram is going to take over Luol Deng, despite what they paid for him in LA. However, I'm not really that confident that this season Jalen Brown is going to take over Jay Crowder's starting spot.
And the Lakers are awful.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they are truly terrible.
If they only have 12 wins by then, who knows what they'll be trying lining.
They could be going for the record at that point. This could be an interesting game because the Lakers have 6 wins, and we're wondering if they're even going to reach the worst record in the history of the NBA.
I mean, fingers crossed.
I just
Like
love when the
needed
Lakers
another
are bad.
top
Like,
three
I know you Laker fans, if you're listening, can hear it in my voice. I'm excited you're terrible. I will be until that changes.
It feels good.
I can't help it. Russell Westbrook's not coming to LA. So I'm just so excited about everything going wrong. You guys signed Timothy Mozgov for $85 million. Oh my God. The Lakers are so bad. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, totally. What's next?
Well, I'm over rivalries. Let's move on. Another reason going to be really excited for an NBA game this season is games that are anticipated due to outside issues such as contracts, trades, playoff rematches, drafts, all those little things that make games that wouldn't normally be interesting. My 2 favorite playoff rematches that we're going to see coming up for the East, I'm really excited to see Miami-Toronto again.
When's that?
For the particular game that I'm excited for would be November 4th in Toronto. I think Toronto's going to win it. I think it's going to be big. Miami, over the course of this offseason, has lost Dang, lost James Johnson, lost Dwayne Wade, lost Gerald Green, if you're into that kind of thing.
The Celtics are.
Oddly enough. They're into whatever they can afford at the moment. All they've really added on was Whiteside, which, great contract.
And not even an addition, right? They had him last year.
Well, no, yeah.
They extended him they paid him the max. Yeah. He is the centerpiece. You better get ready for tragic Whiteside pick and rolls all day
long. Yeah.
Now, is Chris Bosh even an NBA player anymore?
They're still waiting. This is still everybody says the word hopeful.
Like,
and that's all we're.
I feel bad for Chris Bosh, but that's what I think the Heat season comes down to. Is I think the Heat are going to massively underachieve. I don't see them as even a playoff team this year. I think
if Bosh doesn't come back, they're blowing it up this season, mid-season. Whatever they can do to get, basically to start over.
Yeah, I look forward.
Because in this rematch, you've got Toronto, who has lost Biyombo, who really was only effective in the playoffs and not so much in the main season. You've lost Scola, you've lost James Johnson, you've added Sullinger. You've done practically nothing, but they
gave DeMar DeRozan $150 million. Okay, that's something.
Well, as far as addition goes,
you just meant nothing good. Oh yeah, okay.
Nothing new.
Yeah, that's true.
No.
That's true. They didn't do anything good.
In Toronto, on November 4th, as far as this Miami game goes, no news is good news.
Okay.
Because Miami's, I think, just going to absolutely get decimated, and it's going to be kind of fun to watch.
I think a good matchup to look for in that game is specifically Jonas Valanciunas on Toronto versus Whiteside, because Whiteside, for all his quirks and all the different issues that he has, he's an elite defensive center. And Jonas, I think, is one of the few centers that still has a place in the league that has a more of a traditional center game. He doesn't spread the floor particularly well, but he does rebound really well on the offensive glass. He does a really good job of being able to hit a mid-range jump shot. He sets good screens. He's good in the pick and roll, rolling to the basket.
Yeah,
if Whiteside
teams could be playing zone, but
and they're about the same age.
I
don't know exactly how old Jonas is. I want to say he's 24, maybe 25. Whiteside, same. I think he's 24 this year. So that's going to be a cool battle of the very few traditional centers left in the league. I mean, that's going to be one to watch.
Which I have one more, but we'll get to that in a second. As for the other playoff rematch, I'm really excited for Portland Clippers. I believe Clippers were left with just such a disgustingly bad taste in their mouth due to getting their asses kicked due to injury for LA. And Portland went quickly to Golden State, and we saw what happened there. I'm interested to see how it comes down now. I think there's 2 different games, depending on which one you want to see. or which one you're willing to watch. One of them, their first meeting is actually preseason, October 13th. This might be the most aggressive game between the two because
they'll be allowed to punch each other because officials don't officiate in preseason.
The referees aren't even hired for preseason. I don't think
they just let them officiate each other. I think that's how it works.
I think you officiated a couple of Suns preseason.
Yes, I think that they have WWE officials. Referees
Vince
come in.
McMahon walks out. And
it's good.
So everything's going to be still really fresh in preseason. That will be in LA.
It's a preseason game now.
Right. And they're just going to get absolutely... Portland's going to get decimated. And then they're going back to Portland October 27th, shortly thereafter. After adjustments have been made, maybe Alan Crabb will have started playing like he's worth $75 million for 4 years. Just excited to see where the animosity from how the end of the series left off.
You know, the Portland Trailblazers had one of the worst off seasons of anybody that I was researching for the win totals podcast that win total section we're going to be doing later with AJ.
Painful.
They signed a bunch of people that are whatever. Like they signed Evan Turner, who they paid him a bunch of money. He's basically like Boris Diaw 2.0.
All I can think
except he's worse at passing and can't hit a three.
All I can think is that the GM loves inches shorter.
No, he's not many inches shorter than Boris Diaw.
I'll check.
Google that shit.
We're going to Google some height. We'll get back to you on that in a moment. What I think the only excuse for those signings could be going on is maybe some kind of locker room chemistry is just blowing up through the roof that we're not getting any Phoenix insight on. Or butts are in the seats in Trailblazers.
I don't know. I think they
cares what the team actually looks like.
I think they got overexcited about winning 44 games last year. I think Portland re-signed Plumlee. They re-signed Mo Harkless, which is one of the good contracts. 4 years at $40 million total is really good. But
I'd take the Suns spending that on him too.
They have Myers Leonard, Ed Davis. They've got, they just have, their wings are boring as hell. They've got Evan Turner and Alan Crabb, neither of whom are inspiring whatsoever. And I think CJ McCollum is one of the chief rivals of my boy Devin Booker for fourth best shooting guard in the NBA. Not that Devin Booker's there yet, but I'm projecting.
Okay.
I'm projecting Devin Booker will be, by the end of the season, arguably the fourth best shooting guard in the NBA.
Rattled through my head quickly.
But there's nobody good at shooting guard. James Harden. Let's do it. James Harden.
Okay.
Who else?
I would say Jamal Crawford is better than Devin Booker.
No, Jamal Crawford's not better than Devin Booker. He's not even signed to an NBA team yet.
Jamal Crawford?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes. He's still an unsigned free agent, I'm pretty sure. Did he re-sign with the Clip?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Jamal?
Yeah.
All right. Sixth man. He can't even start for them. J.J. Redick maybe I'll give you, but I don't even think J.J. Redick's better.
Half of the games per year, Jamal Crawford will be scoring more than Devin Booker if Devin Booker starts.
That's true. That's absolutely true. But they're both god-awful at defense.
Okay.
And Devin Booker's 19, Jamal Crawford's like 475. So I think he's like maybe 33.
His birthday was last week, and you forgot it, and he's a veteran. That's it.
Sorry, Jamal. But, we have Jamal Crawford 2.0 on the Suns, Brandon Knight, and
if he would decide to play, too.
I would take him. But here's the thing. I truly don't think there's that many good two guards in the NBA. So I think C.J. McCollum is going to be one of the up-and-coming bright stars. The Blazers will be fun to watch, but I honestly see the Blazers as regressing.
There are many good true twos in the league. They're all just 35-year-old. But they're still in the top four.
Klay Thompson is better than Devin Booker.
Yeah.
I'm like running out of humans that are better than Devin Booker.
Let's move on.
Dwayne Wade, maybe.
Two other games that I'm really excited for involve positional Titan clashes. Two of my favorite big men in the league. They meet pretty early in the season. Anthony Davis, when he's healthy, is great to watch. So you'll want to catch this game while you can, playing against DeMarcus Cousins.
I think every person who's a fan of the NBA is looking forward to see a healthy Anthony Davis.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
On November 8th, in Sacramento, Anthony Davis and the Pelicans are going to join DeMarcus Cousins and the Kings.
In the you're the best player on your team and the rest of your team's awful matchup.
Thus the Titan clash. I'm so excited.
Yes, that'll be fun to watch.
I will have cut-out construction paper on my television screen that I'm moving around to cover other players, just to make sure that I don't miss anything that goes on between these two.
And you've got me sold on the Kings already, because I just want to see what is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back and gets Boogie Cousins traded out of Sacramento, because That's going to go down.
Well, I mean, it takes a lot for me to even include them in games that I'm excited for. So I guess all credit for this whole conversation will simply just go to Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
But I think having lost Rondo, the Kings also gained Aflalo and Barnes in the offseason, which I didn't even notice until about a week ago. There's going to be a huge margin for error in the first half of the season of just getting used to I don't even remember who's starting point guard for.
Darren Collison will be starting for the Sacramento Kings.
If you all at home want to take a moment to finish chuckling.
Yeah, I mean...
to replace Rajon Rondo as chief ball handler. It sounds like the offense is going to be run directly through DeMarcus Cousins again, just as the offense for the most part.
I want to know how many times it's going to take for Darren Collison to throw an errant pass into the post to DeMarcus Cousins that gets slapped away or stolen before DeMarcus Cousins murders Darren Collison.
Or an alley-oop attempt that hits somebody in the face in the 14th row. So needless to say, I'm going to predict this game. This game goes to New Orleans. However, I think generally DeMarcus Cousins is going to win. DeMarcus Cousins will win the Titan battle.
You think DeMarcus Cousins outperforms Anthony Davis in their head-to-head matchup?
In their head-to-head matchup.
Why?
Because he's so fresh, of just full of dominance coming off of this Olympics.
Fair enough, yeah.
He's walking with a bigger swagger than I've seen in a while. And, I mean, it's hard to have swagger when you live in Sacramento. Sorry, California again. But I wouldn't be very happy if I were playing for the Kings either. So this might be within the first 3 weeks of the season, coming off of playing with some of his best friends in the Rio Olympics. This will be the best attitude and play we might see from him all season.
I'm nervous for Boogie because he just got a chance to play with 14 other people, 11 other people who are really, really good at basketball. And he's going to go back to playing for the Kings. He's going to go from playing with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and Kyle Lowry to playing with Rudy freaking Gay and Darren Collison.
So are we predicting that he needs to be tested for substance abuse by week
I just
4?
think we need to keep I think we need to have suicide watch for Boogie. Boogie's going to hurt somebody and maybe himself.
Maybe a ref.
He's going to be so sad. I just feel bad for him. He can come to Phoenix once again. Be on the lookout. I'm telling you, half of my excitement for this season is the Suns trying to leverage any situation for a disgruntled star or someone who informs their team they're going to leave in free agency at the end of the year, and they shift some draft picks and try to acquire him. I think you're going to see 2 teams go after Boogie hard in the event that he hits that block. Maybe 3. I think Houston will go after him really hard. I think the Suns will go after him really hard. I think Boston will make a big offer for him.
Okay.
There will be other teams that try to get him because he's a star player. But I think in terms of if you're going to blow up the Kings, which is I think what trading Boogie is, you're going to want to get young assets and draft picks in return because you're not going to trade him for a star that makes you even remotely relevant.
No.
So you just got to go much younger on the Boogie front. So.
Let's do one more Titan clash here. 2 of my favorite point guards to watch, specifically when they are backed up by, in my opinion, just rubbish and bullshit. On March 2nd in Portland, we're going to see Oklahoma City be hosted by the Portland Trail Blazers. I love watching Russell Westbrook when he just has to take over. And I love watching Damian Lillard when he just has to take over. And God willing, they guard each other. And this is another one-on-one fight that is not only going to be great in Portland on March 2nd,
they're going to both go for 50.
Oh, it's going to be great. And then we get round 2 5 days later on March 7th in Oklahoma City.
So whoever has the better game is going to want to one-up the other guy 5 days later.
It's going to be explosive. We're going to see 3-point shots from behind the half-court line.
If Damian Lillard pulls up from behind half-court,
you buy my next beer.
Yeah, I'm just going to be impressed, honestly.
On the March 7th
that's a ballsy shot. It just shows that nobody else on his team can shoot. Who else is going to shoot jump shots besides C.J. McCollum and Damian Lillard on the Blazers?
Well, hopefully after paying Alan Crabb $75 million, he can make 2 or 3.
I like your expectations. Alan Crabb makes 2 jump shots a game. That's such a bad contract. All right, so I like it.
But yeah, 2 takeover, do-it-all point guards that at this point are, I think, are going to be aching for seeding as well.
Don't you think anybody versus Russell Westbrook this year is going to be fun? Russell Westbrook's just going to be on a tear this year.
Yeah.
He might average a triple-double.
I'm ready to fly to Oklahoma City and just watch them practice.
Will Russell Westbrook average 38 and 8? Is that like out of the question? Because I remember when Durant was out for that portion of that season.
I think if they had lost Durant while Brooks was still the coach, yes. But
so you don't like Billy Donovan? You think Billy Donovan's a downgrade from Scotty Brooks?
No, I think Russell Westbrook is a different player.
We're at a bar.
Since Brooks is gone. And not having anything to do with Brooks, just having to do with the time change. He's a little bit less, maybe 5% less of a shoot-first point guard than he was 1 to 2 years ago.
Yeah, but they lost Deion Waiters, they lost KD, and they replaced him with Victor Oladipo.
Which is why this is going to be such an awesome couple
They still have Roberson. And Russell Westbrook's a bad shooter. Like, no offense, he's a great player. Yeah.
So, I mean, they're both just going to be screaming for the 8th seed.
Those two teams could be competing. Although I will get to this later, I have the Thunder as being a 50-win team this year. So.
Okay. Holy shit. If you didn't hear it, somebody at the end of the table said, holy shit. Two, one's obvious, one's also obvious, but maybe less prone to talk about. Contracts and trades, I think, is another reason to get really, really into a specific upcoming game. KD,
we're deep diving now.
We're deep diving. We're getting in.
Yes.
We got the shovel. KD with Golden State in Oklahoma City. We barely have to talk about it. It's too easy. It's going to be great to watch. It's February 11th. A real message. I'm sorry. They play in Oklahoma City on February 11th. Big chance to send a message to a former teammate. I'm going to say there's like a 1 in 5 chance that Oklahoma City wins this game.
Is it possible Russell Westbrook scores 250 points in that game out of anger? Just like, because he looks so mad playing against Steph Curry in the playoffs. Like, between Steph Curry now, he gets to take out all his Steph Curry aggression, and now KD left and went to the team that he hates.
Of flagrant,
oh, it's going to be good.
Punch first?
I don't think he punches anybody. He wins on the court, Adam. Okay? He wins on the court. So
that's what winners do.
Here's the thing, though. I think, personally, Kevin Durant gets cheered in his return to Oklahoma City. What do you think?
I also agree. And we've got 2 games. What helps too.
You agree they're going to cheer him? Now I changed my mind. I think they're going to boo the shit out of him. What do you think?
Let me finish. I think they're going to cheer him because it won't be as fresh. The 2, Oklahoma City and Golden State, play November 3rd.
In Golden State?
And then they play January 18th in the Bay. You've got some time for the sting to wear off. So when KD finally does show up into Oklahoma City for a game, I don't think it's going to be as bad than if they had played in Oklahoma City on November 2nd.
And the result of that game could matter, right? Because if Oklahoma City beats Golden State in Oakland, maybe there's a lot less tension in the game in Oklahoma.
But if you lose all 3 of those games as an Oklahoma City fan, the sting might almost worsen.
I'd boo him till his jersey fell off. Like, I would boo him so incessantly. I'd boo him harder than I boo Robert Horry.
I have a pair of custom Suns-colored KD6s that I have not worn in months due to disappointment. And I don't want to burn them just because of cliche, but
This is one thing from KD's perspective, though. It's going to be really cool to see Kevin Durant get, like, one of those hockey assist passes for the first time, right? Like, Bill Simmons was saying this. I don't think I've ever seen Kevin Durant get a ball passed to him that was coming off of 2 previous quick passes, right? Like, he's going to get in the Golden State system. It's always in isolation or
created himself.
So, I mean, is that going to make him better? Is that going to make him? Because here's the question: everyone sees KD.
It's not going to make KD better because the man can score at will. He doesn't need those passes to score.
Is it going to make him more efficient?
I think it's going to absolutely make Golden State more efficient.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Simply because the Barnes KD transition, or is KD going to do something uniquely beneficial for that offense?
Because I don't think one single team in the NBA has 3 defenders talented enough to handle Thompson, Curry, Durant. There's just nothing you can do. And they all pass so well that this hockey pass hypothetical that you're talking about of man-to-man to score is you can almost win a game 3-on-5 just with that.
Would it blow your mind if the 3 that you just mentioned, Curry, Durant, and Thompson, averaged 75 points a game collectively?
I don't think it would blow my mind that much.
Because it seems really difficult. I don't know that there's that. That's the stratosphere I think we're looking at for this team. I think we're going to see stuff that's never been done before.
What's weird is I think they could achieve a stat like that, but at the same time still score less games.
God, it would be sweet if Kevin Durant and the Warriors lose that game in Oklahoma City, though. It would just be so rich. Like, there would be people just shoving it down their throat.
February 11th, everybody.
Oh, God. Could you imagine being
in contracts and trades that I'm really excited for is Dwight hosting Houston in Atlanta. That's on November 5th. In Atlanta.
Yes.
Now,
one of the many cities that would like to boo Dwight Howard. Atlanta might be booing Dwight Howard by then.
Atlanta picked up Howard. They lost Horford. First of all, in I think the opinion of almost
is that a win or a loss?
That's a loss.
A loss.
That's a loss for him.
Dwight Howard's a way better defender.
Okay.
And I mean, I love making fun of Dwight Howard. Don't get me wrong. He's one of my least favorite people to root for. But one of my favorite people to root against because he just has proven that he doesn't know how to handle any social situation. It goes back to when he was in Orlando and he decided, I'm going to leave. And then they were like, no, like, people would be mad if you left. And, like, Twitter told him they were mad at him, and he was like, I'll stay. So, ever since then, I knew that Dwight Howard did not have an idea of what he was going to be in the NBA. He's probably the best center for 5 to 7 years in a row. And defensively, he's one of the best centers ever. So,
at least 3 of those years, I'm going to throw out a DeMarcus Cousins.
No.
Agree to disagree.
Okay.
However, I do find this game particularly interesting on November 5th because that's pretty much the only addition of note that Atlanta's made. The loss of Horford and the addition of Howard. And to be honest, they weren't that great last year for that to be your only offseason move.
Well, and they made a weird trade, too, right? They traded Jeff T. They got rid of Jeff T.
Yeah, Schroeder's starting that.
Dennis Schroeder starting. Schroeder!
Der Schroeder. Herr Schroeder.
He's going to be playing, and they also they re-signed Kent Bazemore, but did they lose Tiago Splitter, or is he back? I think Splitter's back. I think Tiago Splitter still on the Hawks? Yeah, Tiago Splitter's still on the Hawks, but he was hurt all last year, so he may help them have actual depth at the center position, which...
And we've still got Korver, which perimeter defense has always been a bit of a problem for Houston. But Houston's additions of Ryan Anderson, Eric Gordon, and Nene Hilario are all pretty awesome.
Over under 41 games, the number of games Nene plays.
He plays that game, which is my purpose today. He plays that game. Which, again, is November 5th, super early in the season. Get excited. Which I'm going to say Atlanta wins, but not because of Howard. I think it's too early in the season for the new pieces of Houston to be gelling so well on November 5th. I don't care how much practicing you're doing in the first 2 weeks. You're not going to be ready to beat a team that's so cohesive that they really had only a plus or minus one player from here.
All right, so I'm going to make this a fully homeristic Suns perspective almost always. So let me ask you, who do I think the number one acquisition in the offseason for the Rockets was?
Ryan Anderson.
Mike freaking D'Antoni, Adam.
Oh.
Mike D'Antoni. The father of the 7 seconds or less.
Oh, him.
Yes.
How did it work out for the Knicks?
The Knicks maybe didn't have the right personnel.
Or the Knicks just didn't have Steve Nash? Is that what you're saying?
Linsanity did happen. That's a fact. Thank you, Sham. I appreciate that. What a great highlight of Mike D'Antoni's career. The 20 games where Jeremy Lin made all of his money for the next 5 years. But
I think it's great that the Rockets got D'Antoni. I don't think they should be expecting to have the same result that the Phoenix.
I do think James Harden will have at least 5 games this season that he scores 40 points.
Yes. I think James Harden is going to have that regardless of who his coach is. I think we could send Earl Watson over there, and the same thing would happen. Now, if there's anything wrong with Earl Watson, I'm just saying. I think it's going to happen regardless.
Yeah, it could. What else you got for me? We have time for one more game.
Is Ben Simmons going to matter?
Nobody checks.
Is he going to make a difference over in Philly?
He'll check in.
I'm excited to see Philly. I don't know what game you have highlighted, but I will say this.
So the one that I specifically am excited for Philly, because I'm really never excited to watch Philly, but if I'm going to watch Philly, on January 3rd, I'm going to watch Philly versus the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yes, I love that choice. I think the Timberwolves are going to be the NBA League Pass Team of the Year. I don't know.
So much fun.
I always look forward to those articles.
I also, just to throw on the side, I also jotted down watching the Timberwolves versus the Bucks on December 30th.
God, the Bucks, once again, are they going to massively underachieve? They just have this... Here's one thing that... And homerific, here's one thing I love what the Suns did. That a lot of teams that were similar to the Suns, and these are the teams I'll say are similar, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Portland Trailblazers, the Utah Jazz, right? Those teams have really young cores. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they have really young cores. They have a ton of cap space, and they have far out projected success timelines. The Jazz maybe sooner than the others, but Portland just took on so many bad contracts. I mean, they're $17 million into the luxury tax with their current contracts. That's $43 million in tax money they're going to have to pay because they're $17 million over the cap. They locked up their long-term space. The Bucks signed Matthew Dellavedova, like a guy who, honestly, probably nobody would know his name if LeBron James didn't play with him.
Nobody would know his name if Kyrie Irving was never hurt in the final series.
Also that, yeah. So, they gave him a big contract. They haven't done anything recently to make themselves more flexible or interesting. They're going to be mired down with Greg Monroe. They don't run the type of offense they want. I'm just excited that the Suns, the Wolves, haven't risked any of their long-term potential. They may have signed some people. Yeah.
They're training the youth as best they can. They're establishing chemistry, and then selecting the best youth of what they have to bait free agents to come over for draft.
Exactly. And, I mean, the free agent class in 2017, these young teams, I think that's what a lot of the teams are competing for that aren't going to be in the playoff race. Like when AJ and I go over the win totals in a little bit here, one of the things I think you look for from teams that are going to still be trying to win, because I think when you look at win totals for teams, when you look at these types of games, it's what's going to stop these teams from just tanking, just from benching their stars for minor injuries, or not trying to play their really young, or just playing their really young guys to not win games, even if they have really limited potential.
I don't think anything's going to stop them, because the example that has been set by the 76ers of the ungodly draft picks they've had over the course of the last 5
So what
to 6
team would you
years.
rather be? Would you rather be the 76ers, who have been near the worst team in the NBA, maybe in the NBA history for the last 4 years, or would you rather be the Jazz, who have bottomed out enough to get your Gordon Hayward types? They've had high draft picks.
Oh, absolutely. You still need
but
people who
they're making the playoffs. At least they're
enough.
contending, right?
Yeah,
they're contending.
And your players are gaining the knowledge of playoffs
Sure.
as part of their NBA experience, and they're putting it into their notches on their belt. More importantly, you're able to get these players like Gordon Hayward that can take these new draft picks and teach them something faster than just a bunch of peers that have only been in the league 1 year longer than them.
Absolutely, and I like the young makeup of that team. I love Gobert. I like Gordon Hayward as the veteran who's, 26, 27 years old. Hey, AJ, did you ever find out whether or not Evan Turner is the same height as...
He's 1 inch shorter and shoots it from 3 about 19% worse. He is not the next Boris.
Yes, but that's not a career number for Boris. Boris's career threes are low. Boris is probably
21%.
Evan Turner only shoots 21% from 3. So, but Boris Dio doesn't even take threes really. What I'm trying.
Is that the podcast?
We're
Yes.
live right now.
Yeah. Are
Yes,
you
sir.
doing it right now?
Yeah.
Can I get with me on that or no?
Stranger Danger wants to share some
Yes.
words.
So we'll let you.
hey.
I'm going to ask you one question. You have to answer it.
I'm
No.
out. I'm a bystander. Boom, right here. So I'm a drinker. So
Bystander
I'm going to ask
Danger.
you one question,
one question. What's the question?
and you got to answer my question if you're going to be on the
Look
pod.
at me though. When you look at it.
Well,
What's
it's
the
not a
question?
camera. It's a mic.
Okay, what's the question?
Question is this: when was the last time you cheered for a team that won the NBA championship?
Okay, you're asking the wrong person because you know what? I don't watch sports.
Well, then you're not on. You're on.
Oh, really?
This is one of the key problems with having your
watch cooking shows
podcast.
and,
He will tell us who will win between Bobby Flay and Amberell on America's Worst Cooks, but he does not
I
have
will do that.
any information for us on the NBA. But we appreciate
Post Stranger Danger.
anybody showing up and having an interest in what we're doing over here. That's the whole
Could have
point.
at least bought us a round of Jameson.
Yeah, you could have at least bought us drinks. So,
Few more games I want to throw out before my time with you is done.
Adam, you have 40 seconds.
Cool.
So here's all you have time for.
Great.
Tell me the one game.
I'm going to tell you so many more games in 40 seconds.
One game.
Stop talking to me. Pau Gasol plays Chicago in Chicago on December 8th. He went to the Spurs just like David West did because he smelled blood, and I think the Spurs are going to win in Chicago.
I think
simply
Dwayne
because
Wade
of
versus the
Popovich.
Heat is a fun game too.
Absolutely.
I think
Serge Ibaka going back to Oklahoma City on November 13th in Oklahoma City is also going to be a really fun game. So he can look at the amazing point guard that he doesn't get to play with
All
anymore.
right, so we are going to
OKC is gonna
transition to part 2. Thank you, Adam Jarvie, for being our resident expert in entertainment. AJ Moorhead coming up now.